Presented by Listen Headlines. Latest financial news from trusted sources. Updating daily noontime New York City.
Global economy.
April 13th, 10:54 America, New York. Ukraine's economic pain is real. Turns out being invaded isn't good for the old budget deficit.
Global economy.
April 13th, 10:14 America, New York. Tesco, a cautionary inflationary tale. Grocery chain warns of profit hit but higher prices for food staples will boost rather than dent spending. Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
April 13th, 10:11 America, New York. Supplier prices rose sharply in March. The Labor Department said the Producer Price Index, which generally reflects supply conditions in the economy, increased a seasonally adjusted 1.4% from the prior month, a pickup from an upwardly revised 0.9% gain in February.
Daily FX Market News.
April 13th, 10:05 America, New York. S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, Dow forecasts. Bears drive into key supports. Bears have made a reappearance around the Q2 open and equities have already re-engaged with some key support levels while erasing a chunk of that post-FOMC ramp.
Daily FX Market News.
April 13th, 10 o'clock America, New York. Bank of Canada hikes rates by 50 bps, USDCAD continues to march higher. The Bank of Canada raised its key interest rate by 0.50% in an effort to fight sticky inflation that sits at 3-decade highs.
Wall Street Journal Markets. April 13th, 9:18 America, New York. Peloton needs to explore a sale, investor says. Activist Blackwell said in a presentation that the company hasn't made enough progress under new CEO.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
April 13th, 9:18 America, New York. Peloton needs to explore a sale, investor says. Blackwell's Capital said that the company hasn't made enough progress under its new chief executive and that the former leader and his allies still hold too much control.
Armstrong Economics.
April 13th, 9:09 America, New York. German inflation 22.6%. The end is in sight. The wholesale prices in Germany rose at a record pace in March. Compared to the same month the previous year, wholesale prices jumped by 22.6%, as the Federal Statistical Office announced on Tuesday in Wiesbaden.
Wall Street Journal Markets.
April 13th, 9 o'clock America, New York. Biden forgives student debtors, if not their debts. Borrowers who defaulted on their student loans will get a second chance and a higher credit score.
New York Times Business.
April 13th, 8:52 America, New York. Weaker oil demand, especially in China, might ease supply crunch. The International Energy Agency foresees slower growth in demand for oil, caused by high prices and economic slowdowns. A bridge in Beijing's central business district earlier this month.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. April 13th, 8:47 America, New York. Halozyme Therapeutics agrees to buy Antares Pharma. The deal, which values Antares at roughly $960 million, deepens Halozyme's focus on drug delivery.
Wall Street Journal Markets. April 13th, 8:13 America, New York. Biden's ethanol boost energizes farmers. Corn farmers and ethanol makers look for a bump in demand from summertime E15 sales, but chicken producers fear higher grain costs.
Global economy.
April 13th, 8:12 America, New York. The necessary hypocrisy of a geopolitical Europe. For the EU, keeping out migrants and welcoming Ukraine means ditching inconvenient principles.
New York Times Business.
April 13th, 8:08 America, New York. Britain's inflation rate climbed to 7%, the highest in 30 years. Household budgets are squeezed as wage increases are not keeping pace with rising prices.
Daily FX Market News. April 13th, 8 o'clock America, New York. S&P 500 Outlook. JP Morgan, BlackRock, Delta Airlines earnings. JPM earnings relatively muted. Downside risks remain for the S&P 500.
New York Times Business.
April 13th, 7:57 America, New York. Has U.S. inflation peaked? Prices rose last month at the fastest pace in more than 4 decades. Some economists think inflation may be subsiding, sky high.
Digital finance.
April 13th, 5:16 America, New York. FinClear launches DLT-based private markets platform. FCX platform to create a de facto second board to ASX by tokenizing ownership in private companies. The post-Fin Clear launches DLT-based private markets platform appeared first on digital finance.
BBC News. Business.
April 13. 4:04 America New York. Tesco vows to rein in prices as profits treble. Tesco announces a sharp rise in profits but warns it will come under pressure from rising inflation.
BBC News Business.
April 13. 4:04 America New York. Tesco vows to rein in prices as profits treble. Tesco announces a sharp rise in profits but warns it will come under pressure from rising inflation.
BBC News Business.
April 13. 3:46 America New York. Mini strike at Cowley could stop production, Unite says. About 150 staff who could strike are absolutely critical to the Cowley factory, the union says.
BBC News. Business.
April 13. 3:46 America New York. Mini strike at Cowley could stop production, Unite says. About 150 staff who could strike are absolutely critical to the Cowley factory, the union says.